when we were thinking about doing the Breakthrough of the Year package, we also thought, well, why don't we step back and look back over the last 10 years and see how science has changed in that time. And when we did that, it was really pretty remarkable. A lot of the questions that we were reporting on in the news section of Science 10 years ago are no longer questions. They've been settled. They're in the textbooks now. The scientists have solved those problems. And now they're tackling whole new problems that they never really even thought to ask about before, and sometimes they're doing it using techniques and vocabularies that we weren't even talking about 10 years ago.
Genes used to get all the glory. Now, however, researchers recognize that these protein-coding regions of the genome account for just 1.5% of the whole. The rest of the genome, including small coding and non-coding RNAs, previously written off as junk, is proving to be just as important as the genes. Over the past decade, researchers have deduced a very precise recipe for the content of the universe, which consists of ordinary matter, and dark energy, as well as instructions for putting it all together. These advances have transformed cosmology into a precision science with a standard theory that now leaves very little wiggle room for the other ideas. The realization that biomolecules, like ancient DNA and collagen, can survive for tens of thousands of years and provide important information about long-dead plants, animals, and humans has provided a boon for paleontology. Analysis of these tiny time machines can now reveal anatomical adaptations that skeletal evidence simply can't provide, such as the color of a dinosaur's feathers or how woolly mammoths withstood the cold. Half a dozen missions to Mars over the past decade have provided clear evidence that the red planet once harbored enough water, either on it or just inside it, to alter rock formations and possibly sustain life. This Martian water was probably present around the time that life was beginning to appear on Earth, but there is still enough moisture on Mars today to encourage scientists seeking living, breathing microbes. During the past decade, the notion that development is a one-way street has been turned on its head. Now, researchers have figured out how to reprogram fully developed cells into so-called pluripotent cells that regain their potential to become any type of cell in the body. This technique has already been used to make cell lines from patients with rare diseases, but ultimately, scientists hope to grow genetically matched replacement cells, tissues, and organs. A major shift in the way we view the microbes and viruses that call the human body home has led researchers to the concept of the microbiome, or the collective genomes of the host and the other creatures that live on or inside it. Since 90% of the cells in our bodies are actually microbial, scientists are beginning to understand how significantly microbial genes can affect how much energy we absorb from our foods and how our immune systems respond to infections. In the year 2000, researchers were aware of just 26 planets outside our solar system. By 2010, that number has jumped to 502 and still counting. With emerging technologies, astronomers expect to find abundant Earth-like planets in the universe, but for now, the sizes and orbits of larger planets already discovered are revolutionizing scientists' understanding of how planetary systems form and evolve. Not long ago, inflammation was known as the simple sidekick to our healing machinery, briefly setting in to help immune cells rebuild tissue damage caused by trauma or infection. Today, however, researchers believe that inflammation is also a driving force behind the chronic diseases that will eventually kill nearly all of us, including cancer, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, and obesity. By synthesizing materials with unconventional and tunable optical properties, physicists and engineers have pioneered new ways to guide and manipulate light, creating lenses that defy the fundamental limits on resolution. They've even began constructing cloaks that can make an object invisible. Over the past decade, researchers have solidified some fundamental facts surrounding global climate change. The world is warming, humans are behind the warming, and the natural process of the Earth are not likely to slow that warming. But the next 10 years will determine how scientists and policymakers proceed with this vital information.